Hi, this is Michael Humblet, and welcome on the mobile demo of CumulusPro. Today we'll show you how the mobile application of CumulusPro works on an iPhone. Then I will show you how you can set it up and configure it, show you how easy that is. While we are showing you that, I'll also, in the meantime, show you how you can configure this on a browser, because don't forget, when you're on the mobile, you also have a browser. And then last but not least, I'll show you how the customer engagement platform works, where we can actually send you notifications back and forth and make your app more relevant. These are some of the backgrounds that you see, some of the screens that we've developed actually by explaining how the app works. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to switch screens now. And what you see here is you see I'm moving in. You see here mobile capture. So this is the CumulusPro down here. This is the CumulusPro logo. So we actually built a demo application to show functionality. There are two things you can do. You can actually take the current application that we have and you can just rebrand it, because everything we do is white label. That means you can rebrand. This goes pretty fast to do. I mean, we're talking about 2 days, a day and a half to set it up, and then you have 2 days of fight with marketing to get all the colors and all the details right. But basically, that goes very fast. The other option is that you would take our SDK and would use the mobile toolkit. So that's a 5 MB piece, and you would just integrate it in your application. But let me first start showing this application. So I click on the logo, and then you get the demo application. You see two versions. We have a demo and we have a QR code. I will show you that later. What that happens is basically when I go to demo, I get 4 options: insurance claim, expense claim, invoice, and credit card application. If you now, while you're listening to this and you would go to iTunes Store, you just type in CumulusPro and you will find it in the iTunes Store. You can download and you can play around while I'm talking. So I just show you the first one. So I go for insurance claim. First step is he will say capture a new page. I've used this before, but the first time you use this, it will explain to you what you need to do. So how do we get the principles of what I'm going to show is, well, we were talking to a very large BPO, like a service organization, and they would work for banks and insurances and for hospitals. And what was happening is that traditionally they would get in all the paper to one location. They would have a big truck, get the paper to their offices and scan tons and tons of documents. However, people started being interactive and they started making pictures with their mobile phone and they would send them straight to the bank or the hospital. And that was a real problem because people who have never taken a picture of a document and have no idea how the treatment behind this actually will do very weird stuff. They will take pictures with holding the document. It will be in all directions. They would have backgrounds, crazy backgrounds. They would be defocused completely. I mean, it would be a mess. Don't forget also, if you take a picture with a mobile phone, you're talking about at least 800 to 4 megabyte pictures. So if you get in a million of those, I can tell you your storage is going to blow. Even with the current prices, you still have an issue. So we got in that 10,000, we got from this company 10,000 pictures. We run an OCR on there just to see what would happen. And we had a 2% recognition rate, which basically tells you that every work you have to do manually on these pages because you simply couldn't read them. So we started analyzing and we figured out you need a few things, and it's a few very simple things. One, it's the way you hold your camera. So we will actually measure how you hold your camera. If you hold it horizontally above the page, it will give you a green cross and say you're good. Two, you have different sizes of documents. You can have a business card going up to an A3, sometimes an A4, and then you would even have people scanning in receipts, all different kinds of shapes. So if you have one dossier with all this stuff in there, how can you easily switch? So what we do is basically we put a frame on the screen, and you'll see that in a second. You touch, so we first measure how you hold the camera. We touch the borders of the frame, and the application will snap the picture itself. Because if you press the button, well, clearly you move the camera and you get out of focus. So we do a constant checking on focus so we get the best possible image. Yeah, that's one. Basically, let me show that. So you see my fingers here just to prove that it's live. You see that there is a green square on it. I go upstairs, I go horizontal. you see that this becomes like that, and he snaps the picture. So I haven't touched it, it goes pretty fast. If I would open this picture and I would resume, you have a perfect picture actually. You see this here is a color picture, but I also have all what we would call binarization to clean up the picture. That means we would really make it black and white, and I'll show you that later. In this case, I can actually add pages. I can type in a policy number, IBAN number, email address, whatever you want. If you are playing with it in the background, basically you can type in your email address and he will mail that picture to you. I actually use this for my expenses. I just take pictures and I mail it to me myself, and then I have it. Yeah. If you do the binarization, so the binarization I'll show you. I'm going to delete this one, which is sitting at the expense claim. So we made different profiles and you actually can control all of that. So we have an administration panel, which I'll show later, where you can control the full quality. You can do that per document type. You can do that in general. You can say, I want to have, if you do an account opening, a passport, 300 DPI color. The next document is a bill to prove that you exist, like a classic utility bill. Well, then you would put it on 200 DPI black and white. Well, you control all of that. Yeah. So basically, we take over the scanner or the mobile. So if you would have a browser with the scanner, we will do exactly the same. So let me do the same trick here. I go above my document and I go up, I touch the sides, and it will actually snap the picture. This time it will take a second longer because it's doing the binarization, which are proper algorithms. And here you immediately see this is perfect for OCR in doing any work. So what you actually do is the self-service concept. You let the customer who's motivated to do this take a picture. It's a good, you've taken control. It's a good quality picture. That means all your process behind is basically done, because OCR extraction, all of that can be done perfectly on these quality pictures. Even better, you can ask them to add some metadata, and then you don't even need to type it in. You just check it later in your systems. Are people interested in typing metadata? Well, I would say be very careful. We have customers that do that. We have customers that really don't do it. The big trick actually is that if somebody's motivated, for instance, if they can get a payment, or they're waiting, for instance, they crashed their car, they took some pictures of the car, and then they took a picture of a certain document, they really want to know, they want to get their money. They need something. They will fill in whatever you want. If it's not too long, they will actually do that. Yeah. So that is, let's say, I'm gonna this again. So this is the classic, let's say, picture taking possibility. Now, if I go back, you've seen here there is a QR code. Yeah. So if I actually would open a browser, and I open this browser and I go to a website that we've built to test how it works. So this is an insurance company that has a part here, services, where you can actually go and fill in. If you've crashed your car, you can download all the forms that you can fill in. And then you see here, you can scan, or we actually have a mobile device, which a configuration. So if you are on a mobile website, if this would be a mobile website, you click on this and you have your application that would pop up. Now, the other thing that we've seen is that if you are, let me get my camera here next to it. The thing we've seen is that imagine you are a bank and you are in need for a document, and the people have actually given you a document, 5 pages, but you miss page number 3. What you can do is you can send them an email with a URL, which gives you a scanning client, but you can also put in this QR code, and we generate that for you. What that QR code will do, and I will just show you live. I click on QR code, I press plus, and I just point at that, and basically what he will do is he will actually give me the full configuration I need to be able to work. So if I click on it, you will see I get 3 options: car insurance, travel insurance, home insurance. So basically, what you could make is an individual scan client for one document, even if you want, in a full flow. Yeah, that's another example. Now I will actually stop the mobile and quickly show you how this would work in a browser environment. So I switch operating system. So now I'm in a Windows, just to basically show you a different one. I have the same website here. I go to services, and actually I have my laptop. I have a scanner at home, whatever it is. I have, in this case, I have an HP, which is an MFP that can scan and copy and make coffee. I actually would say, well, I need to scan in a document, Because with the mobile phone, you can take 1, 2, 3 pictures. But if you really have to scan a lot of documents, trust me, you're not going to do that on a mobile phone. You actually want to take a scanner. So what's happening is behind this graphical element, actually, there is a URL. We click on it. That goes to Azure and Microsoft Azure. There, what we do is we check the security token, which if these people are allowed to do it, and we actually push a scan client back to the laptop in this case. We push that like you opened this GoToMeeting. It asks you, can we prepare your desktop? It works exactly the same. This is very light, very controlled, and you see we have spent a lot of time in designing this graphical interface. So you remember when I showed you the QR code, you actually had 3 types. Well, here you have the same car insurance. You can fill in a date. And for instance, in this case, we needed an IBAN number. We actually make it idiot proof or dummy proof, rather, so you can put in databases, numbers, everything you want, and you can even put in regular expressions. So the way this works is we have, and then, sorry, to finish up the story properly, you would select a document and you would press upload, and that document would actually move to the application that you have. It's all fully secure. So when these documents start moving, they go from my laptop directly into the application. So we don't take a document over Azure. Very, very important to note, because the first thing most banks will ask me is, well, is it secure? What if I hack? Well, basically in Microsoft Azure, which is a cloud infrastructure, the only thing we have is the graphical element here to build this this scan client. And we have many customers that have customers that have customers that have customers. Yeah? So there is a whole hierarchy in all these different scan clients, and you can do that completely dynamic. And we actually change all the logos, the layouts, the colors, the metadata, everything you want. Imagine you have a workflow. Let's think of an expense process. You have a workflow at a certain stage. Somebody needs to approve, something needs to be added. You have a button scan, you click on the button, and you have your scan client that would open, or your mobile client. It's all completely transparent. I switch back to my Macintosh system. I show you very briefly how a configuration panel would look like. So this is a configuration that is mine. You see Michael demo. So if I click on here, you can actually define your, I'm not gonna go too deep in it. You can define all your document types. You can actually, once you have defined your document types, you can actually also immediately define what is your keys and all of that. But the point I'm trying to make is that we can do a setup like for the browser, like for the mobile. It's one administration panel. So you reduce your cost of setting this up immediately. Most companies I talk to are fed up with traditional capture system that take them 20 to 50 to 100 days of professional service to set up. We are literally talking about hours and 1-2 days in a maximum. It's always the same. When you set up the mobile or the browser version, you always cover all platforms. Yeah, and we've also pushed that into our licensing model, where basically everything is unlimited. The only thing we count is transactions. Transaction being a scan, a page that actually gets sent up. So if I go back to the presentation, I still wanted to share you a few slides. One is statistics. So this is actually literally big data kind of style. So we have we have a customer in France that has 40 million customers. That means that they have no clue who will actually use their mobile app, or who will use the website, or who. So they have now a project which is, one, I want all my customers to be able to scan on any of my websites, and they actually allow them to do that. The idea is that to reduce the cost of the own scanning infrastructure they have at their site. So they actually push the self-service towards their customers, and actually that's turning out very, very fine, and that works on any platform. Second idea is they have a mobile app. They wanted to give it more relevancy, so they've added the scanning functionality in here. That actually feeds their processes. And then the third one is they have about 50,000 employees, and they want all their employees to be able to scan whatever they have. So it's not only mobile apps they use internally, but it's also, I have a document on an MFP and I need to get it into my system. I have expenses. I mean, you name it. So it's massive. The big issue they have is they have no clue who will use it, and they have no clue. Let me rephrase. They said, we just don't want to pay you a bunch of money up front. We basically want a full transactional model, which for me was the first time a large bank actually asked would be okay with a full transactional model. Yeah. So we have statistics. We have statistics of mobile usage, where you are actually using it, when are you using it. Since we're talking about cloud and we're talking about Apple and Android, there is no limitation on processing power and storage. We can just move ahead, and we can actually see which scanners. We actually, if you would use a scanner, we get 72 statistics per scan. We could actually predict when your scanner is going to go bust. So how does it work? From a technical point of view, I want to give you an example of a bank. So basically, you have your mobile phone. You would open the mobile app. This is another version of it which we use. You would basically go to your you would log into your system. Imagine this is a bank that would generate, check the user, that would generate actually a token. That token gets sent back. So the full security is sitting actually at the bank in this case. Once we have the token, we go to Azure, where we basically go and check what the configuration of the scan should be. So in this case, I will, for instance, like I showed you, will have a 200 dpi black and white for expenses. Then you basically capture the image, you add the metadata, you send it on. So it's going to be uploaded and it will be sent directly into the application. So there is we only use very, very briefly the cloud just to check which are the settings and how up to date you are in the application. For the rest, we actually don't do it. So if you look at all of that, what are your options? Well, your options are rather simple. You have no app and you want one quickly. So that basically means is you take whatever we have and you rebrand it. And we're talking about 2-3 days and you're done. Yeah, and then you need to publish it to the iTunes store, which takes you 3-4 weeks, or to Android, which is about also 3 to 4 weeks. And they do actually check these applications. It's always amazing to see how many questions they come back with. That takes you about 3 to 4 weeks in average. Can be faster, but you don't have control about that. So that means if you would start with it tomorrow, you could actually have an app up and running within 4 weeks. Second one is you already have an application, and I show you an example here of a customer we have in Switzerland, which is called Peaks. They have an application, there is a button here, scan, and we basically have just built in the functionality. So that means we have an SDK that you can just use and call all the functions, and you can actually use that, which is also pretty fast to do, of course. And 3, you can build it from scratch. I have a lot of companies, when I first talk to them, say, well, we found this great application developer and they can do all of this. And yeah, of course. But you have 2 issues for me. One, it's going to take a whole time to develop that. And 2, the guys who are application developers are not capture specialists. So they have no clue how actually what is the next step that needs to happen with the document. They have no clue. Why would you even want to make it really black and white? Why do you want to do OCR, etc., etc.? So this is not something that you learn in a few days or in a few weeks. This is a process that has been taking a few years to perfect. So to conclude all of that, we think we are better. And I mean, everybody thinks they are better, but we think we're better for the following reasons. One, CumulusPro is a team that has done this many, many times before, and they are fully experts. So they've built it before, they have all the best practices, and they've learned from mistakes and the good things, and they've combined into a very good solution. They're very fast to value, and they're fast to value because implementation goes very, very quickly. It's not only implementation. A lot of our partners actually have multiple customers. So what you traditionally have to do is you build it for one customer, and then you have to rebuild everything for the next one, etc., etc. No, this is a tool that is configurable. So you set it up for one, takes you 2 hours to add logos and metadata, whatever. You have the next customer that comes, well, we're talking about another 2 hours. On top of that, also when you want to change something, everything is fully dynamic. Typically, if you have 1 million mobile users out there, you have no clue where they are. the question is, if you want to change one index, one metadata, for instance, there is a structure that changes in, for instance, an account number. Well, basically, you just change it, you press publish, and a second or two later, poof, all the mobile clients actually have that updated setting. So because of that, we've seen that in average we deploy 5 to 10 times faster than any competition. And you can actually be up and running from day one. So we go to customers, we take their website, we actually make a copy of it, we put in buttons, we integrate it in the mobile app, and you're up and running almost instantaneously. And the last part, of course, you pay what you transact. So we don't look into any other special fees or anything. It's purely transactional. And of course, we think our technology and our algorithms is a step ahead because it's truly cross-platform. So it's not one piece for mobile, one piece for there. No, it's always cross-platform, whatever we do. Currently, we have lots of users on the system. And that's my last slide here. So if you think, well, we're alone and why would I do it? Can I trust these guys? Well, if you would want to try, we have free versions, we have paid versions, we have different versions. So currently we have 75,000 users, daily users, by the way, that are using our browser version to send documents to Evernote, OneDrive, and Google Drive, and where they actually really, we know that the system is fully stable and they have been on the system for quite a while. So it's pretty efficient. Then we have subscription customers. Of course, I can't tell you the volumes here, what's going on, but these are all companies that are using it. Lufthansa, for instance, it's all about HR records, and doc care, for instance, is all around insurance for healthcare. Carmack is a large BPO. So we have many customers that actually are using our systems for their customers, who then sometimes also have customers that have customers. So it can be rather extensive. And then also purely platform thinking, we have about 8,000 users that are using it. Like we have a Chrome plugins, and we have integration with SharePoint and Office 365, where it's fully dynamically put in there. So I invite you to go and look on the internet and find CumulusPro, and so you can test it yourself. I truly believe that seeing and trying will convince you. If you have any other questions, please ask them in the panel where you can actually ask a question, and I will wait. Let me change the last slide. I will wait a bit and answer all of the questions you have. We also won last year the DM Document Management Awards 2014 for best product. That's out there. I just got a first question. Question is, Michael, does it work on when is the Windows Phone actually coming out? So Windows Phone is in 4 weeks that we have planned, 4 to 5 weeks. We're cleaning it up. Another question is, does it work with older phones? Well, of course, that's a good question. We've seen that if the phone is too old, the quality of the image is not good enough. The camera is basically not good enough. So we, of course, have some limitation on that. You can, I will mail you a list actually to tell you which versions we support. We've seen that we have a rather simplistic approach, which means that we take the picture, we take control. We don't allow people to scan. We are going to add a button that will do an override in certain pieces, but you have to realize if you do that manual override, then you can still get a lot of crap in there. So that means you just move the work from them to you. So that's a decision any company needs to make. Any more questions? I would say please feel free. I try to stick to the time. Can you send us the presentation? Yes, of course, I will gladly send you the presentation. I have been recording what I've been saying, so I will send you a link to a YouTube movie, let's say later today, maybe Monday morning, where you can review certain parts. You can for sure go out and test the application. You can reach out to me or to the team and ask any questions. We can set that up very easily, give you access to the systems, and actually share some pricing information with you. So the way pricing works, because I just see question around pricing. The way pricing works is that we basically have a monthly subscription fee, very low fee, basically to cover our costs with the infrastructure.